Good afternoon. My name is Phil Zelmer. This is my presentation for MSW 650 Research Methodology with Assistant Professor Claire Haglund. It's entitled Efficacy of Video Game Therapy. So where does video game therapy come from? Originally, it started out in the 1950s with the inception of video games. And we're talking more along the lines of Atari and Coleco, where it was a single bouncing ball going across the screen. It was really used back in the 1970s as an opportunity both before and after therapy sessions for the therapist and then the patient to kind of de-stress, to remove some of the anxiety that may have been caused as a result of the therapy itself. As time moved on and video games became a little bit more involved and people started to think a little bit more about what this medium could be used for, we jump forward to the 1990s where we have more immersive games, and video games are becoming more world-based things like Minecraft and other large environments, World of Warcraft, things like that, where it's group-based as well as individual-based. There's the capacity for storylines. It was really during that time that therapists took a look at this medium and truly thought that they might be able to use it as a way to assist in the treatment of mental health disorders. Leap forward to 2019, uh, where we now have online gaming as kind of the standard, either on the PC or the console, and the console meaning like a PS5 or an Xbox or something along those lines. Uh, but the capacity to have a larger world access, and some of these games are worldwide. But in 2019, Dr. Francesco Bocci designed and patented uh, a series of treatments and programs that can be used for the treatment of mental health disorders. And it's all associated with the use of video games. And there's some very unique games that he created in order to complete this. So some ideas, or some definitions that we have to have a good understanding of before we can move forward. We have video game therapy. That is the use of any video game, whether it is live stream, online, or immersive based, that is used to provide the education or the coping with trauma or development of coping mechanisms. Video game is pretty straightforward, but it comes in a variety of formats, whether it's a console game that is not connected to the World Wide Web, or it is large immersive games where groups of individuals come together and can provide or receive therapy. Online gaming is pretty straightforward. It's games that occur with the use of the internet, and can be used both as an individual or as a group setting. Exergame is a term that was developed by Nintendo, actually, with the development of the Wii and the Wii Fit. Uh, this incorporated physical motion into the activity of gaming, and encouraged the use of action as opposed to sedentary behaviors. Immersive worlds, that is the use of or the style of a game where it is an entirely different reality that you walk into, whether it is things like Minecraft, Rethink, or even games like Ark or other things where there is an entire game behind the scenes, and the amount of work that goes into those games is immense. Virtual reality. Virtual reality is a way that games can be played, and the style of therapy that can be done with virtual reality is a little different. It's more experiential, the ability to cope with previous traumas, but it's literally the use of virtual reality goggles and sometimes gloves to interact with environments that are created. Gamer is a pretty straightforward tech or term used by individuals who spend a lot of time or who just enjoy playing video games. What I have listed here are the 5 different theories that video games therapy is based off of, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, acceptance therapy, play therapy, and engagement therapy. Acceptance therapy really looks at the use of these games or how these games can help individuals accept and cope with things that have happened to them in the past. Dialectical behavioral therapy looks at the use of positive strategies to avoid negative self-thoughts. Cognitive behavioral therapy is learning to cope with the feelings that we're experiencing. Play therapy is originally used in the development of play with young children and how that interacts or develops the ability to deal with social concepts or constructs. And engagement therapy looks, or theory or therapy looks at how people are actually actively or engaging in the process and how that impacts their ability to move forward. For this process, I developed a problem statement of the ability to connect with an ever-growing disparate population, has sparked a variety of new quasi-innovative therapy techniques. Video game therapy is a relatively new means to connect with a generation that continues to distance themselves from direct social contact in the wake of the COVID-19 crisis. In reviewing the literature related to this topic, there is little research around the efficacy in the treating of a variety of mental health conditions with the use of video games therapy. For the purpose of this proposal, I would look specifically at a targeted population of individuals age 18 to 25 who have previously been diagnosed with a mental health disorder and who are willing to participate in video game therapy. These individuals would undergo a variety of tests to further confirm their mental health diagnosis, as well as look at pre, during, and post evaluations of those mental health diagnoses and symptomologies based on the use of video game therapy. In terms of research questions, has the participant previously been diagnosed with depression, anxiety, or experience or expressions of self-harm? How long have they participated in video game therapy? Has video game therapy improved the participants' level of depression or anxiety or self-harm? Really looking at how effective is video game therapy at decreasing the symptoms that a person experiences from depression, anxiety, or suicidal ideations. As I kind of said before, the literature around video game therapy is, well, the efficacy of it is few and far between. But when we're looking at video game therapy and the prominence of it, the main reason that this is becoming more and more of an acceptable means of therapy is because of the onset of COVID. Back in 2019, the world took a hit. And because of isolation associated with the illness, because of the lack of understanding of what was going to happen next, because of the fear everyone was experiencing, the rates of anxiety and depression globally increased by 25% just in that first year. When we look at our targeted population of individuals age 18 to 25, in 2021, according to the National Institute of Mental Illness, roughly 18.6% of individuals in that age range expressed feelings of depression or anxiety. 2 years down the chain, we look at that number almost doubling to 36%. Because of everything that has happened as a result of COVID and isolation and changes, whether it be schools closing, whether it be moving to online formats, loss of connection with friends. Now, there's a variety of issues that are associated with COVID that not only cause, but also have an impact on the mental health of the individual. One is the reduced social relationships. When COVID first came out, we were all told to isolate. And we went from a society that would go out to the mall, enjoy walking around, sitting at a food court, to a society that spends a majority of its time at home or away from large groups of individuals. Imposed restrictions and long lockdowns significantly increase the levels of anxiety and depression. When you're locked down or away from your family for 10 to 14 days, it will have an impact on anyone. One thing that they did see is that the numbers of individuals since 2019 who are consider themselves gamers or who escape from reality into games has significantly increased. In the United States alone, in 2019, it was based on a number of studies, was found that roughly 170 million individuals considered themselves gamers or even found a certain amount of time during a week to play video games. That number jumped 24 million in 2023, and the numbers in 2024 are probably going to be even significantly higher. But video games have been seen as a way to escape from the reality that people are experiencing, the problems that they're having, the isolation that they're going through. Now, as I previously said, there's a distinct lack of research related to the efficacy of video game therapy on depression, anxiety, and suicidality in that specific 18 to 25 target group. But there are a number of studies that are out there related to the efficacy of video game therapy with younger populations or with populations with a variety of disorders. Prior to the use of video game therapy as a means to work on mental health issues, it was actually used for individuals who had recently suffered spinal damage or who are experiencing symptoms similar to Alzheimer's or dementia, to try and work on resolving or helping individuals who lost a limb to feel some level of freedom and experience. Specifically, though, with therapy, mental health therapy, with video games. In 2021, a study using a video game called Rethink was designed. It was specifically focused on individuals age 8 to 16 in a urban population in England. They identified roughly 31 individuals who had been reporting a high degree of conduct disorder, as well as anxiety and depression. Uh, these individuals were introduced initially on an individual basis to a program called Rethink, which is an online immersive video game that was developed for the purpose of the study and continues to be used to this day. The video game itself worked specifically on the development of, well, there were a couple things that it looked at. One, it looked at trying to decrease the conduct disorder and develop a closer sense of cohesion within this subset of kids. And based on the findings of that study, the use of Rethink with that population did tend to show a higher rate of or decrease in conduct disorder, as well as a closer bond between that group, because they had to support one another in order to achieve established goals. Then there in 2021 also is the Pulvicini study, which looked at 28 different resources or studies and specifically focusing on the impact of video games on stress levels and mental health. And they did find, based on the literature, that video games do have a calming effect on individuals, and it can be used for a variety of reasons or uses, including therapy and for stress relief. Finally, there's the study written by Dr. Francesco Bocci as part of his patenting of video game therapy. He took a large number of individuals and used 3 different computer simulations, one of them being Rethink, to actually try and work on their mental health issues. So he looked at a wide spectrum of individuals, anywhere from from elementary all the way to senior citizens, and the impact that that therapy technique had on the individuals. So why is this important? Couple reasons, and this is from a global perspective. The number of individuals who are disconnecting from one-to-one individual therapy continues to increase on a day-to-day basis. As a society, we find ourselves participating more in individual therapy online. We go to intensive outpatient or even partial hospitalization programs on an online basis. As therapists and social workers, we will tend to have less and less contact with our clients, and the ability to reach them or find a medium that will help connect with individuals who are suffering from anxiety and depression is crucial. When we look at the use of video games, they've been around for quite some time. First video games came out back in the 50s, but now we've gotten to a point where it is an immersive world for video games, where individuals will spend upwards of 8+ hours. We have people making millions of dollars off of playing video games, and to be able to work with those types of individuals who are hesitant to have that human contact, who aren't willing to sit down in a chair in the same room with you, you've got to find a different way to reach the kids. At this point, we need to find a way to connect with them. And kind of a personal connection for me is my kids are younger. My youngest one is 13. My oldest one is 20. I have found with my youngest two, my 13 and 14-year-old, some of the best times that I have with them are connecting with them through the virtual worlds. So I play Fortnite with my son, and I get my butt beat by him repeatedly. Or I played a game called Ark Survival with my daughter and got my butt beat repeatedly. But the ability to connect through this medium it's new, it's innovative, it's a different way of connecting with people. And to be honest, I truly enjoy spending time playing video games. But that's not the life I've chosen. But as a personal note, it's just a new way that we can try. We have so many different theories and ways that we can connect with people, whether it's CBT, DBT, EBT, all the acronyms in the alphabet soup. But we can have more and more acronyms, but if we don't connect with the individual and find a way to connect with them, we as therapists and social workers are going to kind of lose our ability to have what to do. So, thank you for being patient and dealing with my rambling. I have included in here quite a few of the references that I've used for the creation of this and the other parts of my papers for this. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and thank you very much.